Heading up to the Yoop there, eh? Are you located in the Midwest, or are you looking to come to the Midwest? Today we're talking trip planning for Pictured Rocks National Lakeshore in Upper Michigan. So what is Pictured Rocks? Pictured Rocks is a beautiful section of the North Country Trail. It runs from Grand Marais to Munising, Upper Michigan. It's great for kayaking and backpacking. Today I'm going to talk mostly about the backpacking side of it, but if you're looking to do some kayaking, a lot of this will apply to you too. So kayaking, you get more views of the cliffs, and you get to experience a little more of the water. With backpacking, obviously you're on the trail, and you do get to see the cliffs. You're just seeing them from farther away. You know, when you go to Pictured Rocks, you don't feel like you're in the Midwest. You almost feel like you're somewhere tropical. You got the sunny blue sky, the clear crystal water. It also has various terrain. You got sand, you got rocks, you got dirt. You can walk on the beach. And if you've never been to Lake Superior before, I'd highly recommend it because it is an insane view. The water tastes amazing. Like honestly, if you haven't been to Lake Superior and tasted the water, it is the best tasting water I've ever had. It's amazing. I mean, you could basically drink it almost straight up, but I wouldn't recommend that because, you know, obviously filtered water. So how are you gonna get there? Well, you can either fly in to somewhere in Upper Michigan. There's a few airports, but you'd still have to get your way to the trail. Being from Wisconsin, I obviously drove the 5 or so hours to get there, and it was well worth the trip. Now, before you get there, you're gonna wanna book a shuttle. You wanna make sure you book that at least a couple weeks in advance to make sure that you have a room on the shuttle. I'd also recommend eating your lunch on the shuttle. So the shuttle service you're going to want to probably take is the Altran bus. It's about $25 per person, and they'll take you all the way from east to west along the trail, and you can stop at any point. It's very, very hilly in Upper Michigan, so I'd recommend you take some Dramamine or some sort of motion sickness if you get motion sick. I know most of us were feeling pretty motion sick when we got to the other end of the trail to get hiking. And so when you get to that trailhead, you might feel nauseous. Just warning you. Another option you obviously have if you don't want to take the shuttle is you could have 2 cars and drive, but it's about an hour or so drive, so you want to make sure that that you have the time allotted. I've been to Pictured Rocks in late spring, and I've been there in the fall. I would highly recommend that you bring some sort of head net if you're going in that late spring, early summer time frame. Even in the summer, if you're looking to go during that time frame, the mosquitoes can be pretty bad. But if you're going in the fall, you should be just fine. I don't think you'll see many bugs. You'll see a lot of really, really pretty fall colors. Those oranges, those reds, those yellows. In early fall, it's around that 50 or so degree weather. Can get kind of cold at night, down to like the 30s. Especially in the fall, you're going to be experiencing that cold wind coming right off of Lake Superior. Make sure to bring wind gear, either wind pants or a rain jacket or windbreaker, something that's going to keep the wind. So let's talk about the trail. It's 42 miles. It could be completed in roughly 4 to 5 days is what I would recommend. Day 1, we hiked about 7 miles. Day 2, we hiked about 13.1. Day 3 was also like a 13-mile day. And then we hiked out for 8.9 miles. It's pretty easy terrain, and it's easy to follow the trail. You really can't get lost. It's just one straight shot. I'd recommend going east to west, and the reason why I say that is because the eastern part is a little bit flatter. It's a little bit easier terrain. You can kind of get warmed up. The western part is very hilly. Can be kind of muddy. It's a little bit messy. You're going to get a little more dirt on you. It's just how it is. Definitely don't bring your favorite shoes, especially for that western part. I mean, that was quite muddy. Some of the features of Pictured Rocks, obviously the views. You can't beat that Lake Superior, the clear blue water. You got the waves kind of rushing in. It's beautiful. You got those cliffs. Those cliffs, those cliffs are tall. Those cliffs are really, really tall. So make sure you don't get too close to those because you don't want to fall off. That's a long way down, and that'd be a big cannonball. There's almost always a view on this trail. You're walking along the shoreline, and so you get to see that Lake Superior view almost the entire time. You go into the woods a little bit, and you come back out, but for the majority of the trail, you're like right on the shoreline, or you're right on the cliffs. So let's talk about water access. Lake Superior, so tasty. So if you're thinking, wow, it's Lake Superior, I'm gonna have access to the entire lake the entire time. Well, you would be incorrect. There's actually some sites that don't have water access at all because you're way above Lake Superior. Some of those sites that do not have water access are Mass Homestead, Potato Patch, and the Cliffs. You're gonna wanna make sure that you get water the last time you can before you hit one of those campsites. So you have to kind of take a look at the map, I'll link that down below in the description. For the most part, you're on Lake Superior, so you're going to have plenty of water. But you're going to want to make sure that you take a look at that before you plan your sites. Now there's an optional loop that you can actually take. When you get to Beaver Lake, you can take that loop and it'll loop you back around. We decided not to do that because that was a little more miles than we wanted to do that day. I don't know exactly what's there, but if you want to lengthen your trip, definitely take a look. Now the campsites are actually really nice. Some of them are right along the shoreline. Other ones you have to kind of go off trail a little bit to get to the campsite. The 3 sites that we stayed at were Ausable East, Beaver Creek, and Potato Patch. If you stay at any of those 3 campsites, you definitely would be able to hammock camp or tent camp. I can't vouch for the other ones because some of them were off trail and we couldn't see, but it looks like there's a lot of trees on this trail. Every site's going to have a bear box where you can lock your food at night. Some of them are going to have bear poles where you can hang your food. And then they always have a pit toilet. Everyone's got to go. And then some of them will actually have fire pits. So not everyone does, but a lot of them did. Before you head on out, I'd recommend you stop in Munising and pick up a pasty. Now if you've never had a pasty, it's basically like a glorified Hot Pocket. Don't tell them youpers. It's definitely great to have right at the end of a hike. Well, I hope you enjoy your trip to Pictured Rocks National Lakeshore. If you haven't seen my trip video yet, it's right here. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them down in the comments. I'll try to get to those. If you go on Pictured Rocks website, you'll find the map and you'll also find a sweet chart that actually gives you the mileage of from what campsite to what campsite, so I'd check that out. Like seriously, you gotta have some of that Lake Superior water. Honestly, I would go to Lake Superior just for the water.